Nittai Gaura Chandra Sabhavatara Saira Shiromani Kevalananda Kanda Sabhavatara Saira Shiromani Kevalananda Kanda Bajo bajo bai Caitanya Nitai Shudrida Vishwasa Kari Bajo bajo bai Caitanya Nitai Shudrida Vishwasa Kari Vishaya Jadiya Sera Se Madhya Muke Bola Hari Hari Vishaya Jadiya Sera Se Madhya Muke Bola Hari Hari Te kore bai Tribhuvane nai Emona doyala data Te kore bai Tribhuvane nai Emona doyala data दिया से पादे नाही लाशा अपना कर्मा
Shri Bhaktivedanta Manadhama ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Nitai Go Premanandi. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Lotus Feet of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Oh Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. We're reading this beautiful 9th chapter of the Madhya Lila, Lord Chaitanya's travels to the holy places. He's in South India, in Srirangam. Text 79, is there? 80, thank you. We've done 79. I told them. So don't worry. We'll just do without. Okay, I'm reading text 80 to the purport up until 82. Cover, it doesn't matter, Mataji. Kabirete snana kari deke ranganath, stuti pranati kari manila kritata. Kari manila kritata. After bathing in the river Kaveri, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu saw the temple of Ranganath and offered his ardent prayers and obeisances. Thus he felt himself successful. Text 81. Prema veshe koila bahuta gananatan deki chamatkara hoile sabaloke ramana. In the temple of Ranganath, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu chanted and danced in ecstatic love of God. Seeing his performance, everyone was struck with wonder. 82. Shri Vaishnava eke Vyankatabhata nam Prabhuda nimantrana koila koreye saman. A Vaishnava known as Venkatabhata then invited Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu to his home with great respect. Srila Prabhupada's purport, or we can repeat that one maybe on your phones if you want to, shall we? We haven't got much time, little bit. Shri Vaishnava eke Venkatabhata nam Prabhure nirmantrana koila koriye saman. 2 or 3 of them. Ladies.
Sri Vaishnava eke Venkatapattu nam.
Sri Vaishnava eke Venkatapattu nam.
Prabhure nimantran koila kuriya samman.
Sri Vaishnava eke, a devotee belonging to the Ramanuja Sampradaya. Venkatabhata. Nama. Named. Prabhure. Unto Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nimantrana. Invitation. Koila. Did. Kariye. Offering. Samana. Great respect. Translation: A Vaishnava known as Venkatabhata then invited Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu to his home with great respect. And I can guarantee when he paid obeisances to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which he probably did because he was a sannyasi, then he used his palm, elbow on both hands, and he didn't have his legs crossed. So this offering of respect, paying obeisances, it's all mentioned in Shastra. Everything we do is mentioned in Shastra. So this is how to pay obeisances, not with your legs crossed or with one arm or no arms, like that. It's very popular nowadays at the Manor. But we've had a wonderful week at the Manor. It's been a wonderful week. It's been like this spiritual world. all these Prabhupada disciples come here, and it's been really, really wonderful. It's been like back in the early 90s. In the early 90s was like the golden period of the manna. There was hundreds of Prabhupada disciples here. You couldn't lead kirtan, they were all like, I'm going to lead. You couldn't give class hardly, and the Prabhupada Vyasa Pujas was like the best in the world. Everyone's crying, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful time. And this week has reminded me of this. Of course, we had help that the winter of England's finally over. We had some warmer weather. And it would have been a perfect week had Anu tomorrow, someone else give class. I think Mandakini and Rukmini should give class every day. But unfortunately, they put me on the schedule, so we'll do our best. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Purport. Sri Venkatabhatta was a Vaishnav Brahmin and an inhabitant of Sri Ranga Kshetra. He belonged to the disciplic succession of Sri Ramanujacharya. Sri Ranga is one of the places of pilgrimage in the province of Tamil Nadu. The inhabitants of that province do not retain the name Venkata. It is therefore supposed that Venkatabhatta did not belong to that province, although he may have been residing there for a very long time. Venkatabhatta was in a branch of the Ramanuja Sampradaya known as Badagala-I. He had a brother in the Ramanuja Sampradaya known as Shripad Prabodhananda Saraswati. The son of Venkatabhatta was later known in the Gaudiya Sampradaya as Gopalabhatta Goswami, and he established the Radharaman temple in Vrindavan. Sisi Radharaman ki jai! More information about him may be found in a book known as the Bhakti Ratnakar by Nadahari, which I didn't research. End of purport. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksusun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So, this purport is not any philosophy that I could talk on, but I'm going to try to speak a little about Gopal Bhatta Goswami and Prabodhananda Saraswati. Caitanya Mahaprabhu is wandering around South India and he's collecting his devotees as he travels. He meets Ramananda Roy near the Godavari River, and he says, you go to Puri now, and I'll meet you there later. Then he's delivering all sorts of devotees everywhere. As he walks down the road, every insect, every grain of dust that he touches, every Brahmin that he meets, every person that he meets, he embraces people. Just by seeing him, they become Krishna conscious. He's so magnanimous, distributing love of Godhead personally himself as he travels around. And now he's come to this very, very nice holy place of Srirangam. It's the largest Vishnu temple in India. Kripamoy discussed it last week, I won't repeat that. So now he's meeting Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who is a young boy at the time, and his uncle, Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati. Now it's not mentioned, they're not mentioned very much by the Goswamis. And it is well known that Gopal Bhatta Goswami asked Krishna Kaviraj, don't put my name in Caitanya Caritamrta. And so one can contrive that maybe his guru was very much like that, and he took the mood of his guru. This is important principle of Vaishnav culture, that we take the mood of our guru. Prabhupada's mood was to save the world and spread Krishna consciousness. That was his primary mood. So we are doing the same. Sometimes we're getting criticized for this, but we carry on taking Prabhupada's mood. So Gopal, so although they're very important Vaishnavas, they're not very much mentioned. Of course, Prabodhananda Saraswati and Gopal Bhatta Goswami both came to live in Vrindavan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Gopal Bhatta Goswami, go to live in Vrindavan, but first you take care of your parents and don't get married. So this is a very important thing. He told them, he also told Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, take care of your parents. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami stayed in South India for all most of his life until his parents left their body, and then he immediately went to Vrindavan. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Puri at the time. He was wondering, worrying, when is Gopal Bhatta Goswami? When I'm going to hear news of Gopal Bhatta Goswami? So he heard finally Gopal Bhatta Goswami has arrived in Vrindavan. So he sent him 3 items. He sent his kopin, he sent a choki table, a sitting stool, like a small stool for sitting, and I can't remember the 3rd item. Anyone know? I think it may have been some gunja beads. He sent also gifts to Raghunath Das Goswami, or he gave him them personally, or sent them. But here we see him sent this sitting place. So Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they were there in Vrindavan, the leaders of all the Vaishnavas at that time, and they did not initiate any disciples. But they said to Gopal Bhatta Goswami, now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given you this seat, that means you initiate. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami initiated many devotees, and Raghunath Bhatta Goswami also initiated devotees. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also instructed him, you please worship the Shalagram Shila. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami personally went to the Himalayas and he brought some Shalagram Shilas. And at that time there was no temples. He didn't have a temple. He was living at Seva Kunj. Anyone who's been to Vrindavan, there's Seva Kunj and Nidhuvan, these 2 forests in Vrindavan. But the trees are only like chest high maximum, and there's hundreds of them in this beautiful area, all walled off. Exceedingly beautiful part of Vrindavan. So all the main Goswamis were living there, right in what we call now the heart of Vrindavan. And Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinath temples were established. The deities were installed by Sanatan, Rupa, and Raghunath. So Gopal Goswami, he was keeping, Gopal Bhatta, he was keeping his deities in a swing. And he would swing them, and he was thinking, I want to have a deity. I want the face of Govinda, the chest of Gopinath, and the feet of Madan Mohan. And he's swinging. And at night, the Brahmins used to put the deity, this is coming, I've jumped ahead. So one day, Radharaman appeared. Exactly how he had prayed for. He had the chest of Gopinath, face of Govinda, like that. It's a very extraordinary deity. And it's one of the only deities that never left Vrindavan. Stayed in Vrindavan, did not leave. And today it's one of the most famous temples in Vrindavan. And many ISKCON devotees, they love Radharaman. They have darshan picture every day. Some darshan pictures are not allowed. There's one, Radharaman has one kurta made of emeralds. And they don't allow this photo to be... So in this way, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he was worshipping Radharaman. And Radharaman, such an amazing reciprocation with his devotee. So one time, Gopal Bhatta Goswami was suffering great separation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when he went to see Radharaman, Radharaman had become Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, manifest in front of him. Gopal Bhatta Goswami was speechless. So in this way, Radharaman became established, and even today is wonderfully. Srila Prabhupada says we should learn tips how to worship our deities in ISKCON from the Radharaman standard. Hare Krishna. So before the temple was built, they used to put Radharaman to sleep on a boat in the lake there. There's some small lake. And they would guard with poison-tipped arrows. They had some guards if anyone came. Protect the deity. Hare Krishna. So now, Prabodhananda Saraswati, he is an amazing author of books, Vrindavan Mahimrita and Caitanya Chandramrita were his main books. And his verses are extraordinary and wonderful. And today, in this holiest saintly association of the Vaishnavas, by your permission, I'll read just a few of his verses so we can relish the wonderful meaning of these verses. One of his verses, Kala Kaliya Balina Indriya Vaidivaga Sri Bhakti Maga Iha Kantaka Koti Rudha Ha Kvayami Vikala Kimaham Koromi Caitanya Chandra Yadi Nadja Kripam Korosi. He says, Kaliya, now it is the age of Kali. And the senses are very strong, Balina. And Sri Bhakti Marg, the beautiful, auspicious path of devotional service, is strewn with countless thorns. We have to go through so many pain. Mandakini was explaining so beautifully yesterday. These anarthas just pop up into the mind from all the thousands of material desires, seeds that are in the heart. And then life becomes very difficult. No taste for Krishna consciousness. Great desires for sense gratification. Very difficult. Kevala Ananda Kanda Parama Karuna. Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, the most merciful. The path is full of bliss. Why am I so miserable? Why am I so unhappy? Only because of this material desire. But once it pops up, it's gone. Just let it go. Let it go. And carry on this Bhajo Mukho Balo Hari Hari. Parama Karuna is the mercy. Karuna means compassion. So there are three different types of mercy. There is Kripa, Doya, and Karuna. So Kripa is like if a judge is very official. Okay, we'll give you a break. We'll just give you community service. We won't put you in prison. This is an example of Kripa. It's an official, moral giving of mercy or forgiveness. Doya is a little more intimate. It's a religious, spiritual giving of mercy, kindness of the devas, of the Lord, to the conditioned souls. But Karuna means compassion. You don't want it, you don't want the mercy, but I'll give it you anyway. This is Karuna. This is Caitanya Mahaprabhu Nityananda. Therefore, Prabhupada says you have to be aggressive. They don't want Krishna consciousness. People think they're happy, they're suffering like anything. Parama. Supreme Karuna. Tamadi Devam Karuna Nidanam. Krishna is an ocean of mercy, but Caitanya Mahaprabhu is Parama Karuna. He's the supreme ocean of mercy. He will never ever let go of the conditioned soul who becomes a devotee. You see so many devotees. The years go past and like 10 years someone just turns up. You have not seen them for 10 years and they're chanting Hare Krishna. No one leaves the lotus feet of Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Sabha Avatar Shada Shiramani. Lochanta says that this incarnation of Caitanya Mahaprabhu Nityananda, it's a Shada Mani. The jewel is the essence of all avatars. Because what is the avatars for? To uplift the conditioned souls, to save the devotees rotting in this miserable material world. They're so foolish trying to stay here. Prabhupada says sometimes the devotees need saving. The devotees are attached. This is one of the features of Krishna's incarnation. He's so attractive, devotees, okay, I have to go back to Godhead now. It's really fully surrender. Some of the demigods, they come to Krishna's Lila. The ones who are more devotionally inclined take birth in Krishna's Lila to get the association of Krishna and his Nitya Siddha devotees so they can go back to Godhead. So it's very, very difficult to go back to Godhead and give up our everything to Krishna. So but Krishna's trying over and over again. Nana avatara makarad bhuvaneshu kintu. So many avatars are coming. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the essence of all avatars. And Prabodhananda Saraswati, he's written one verse. So what is the use of this Nrsingadev avatar? What is the use of Ram? What benefit did the world get from any of these avatars? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You see? This is Prabodhananda Saraswati's mood. Huh? They kill so many, these incarnations, kill so many Rakshasa, Daicha demons. How important is it that Lord Kapila and other incarnations reveal the paths of Sankhya and Yoga? How glorious is it that Lord Brahma and the other guna avatars create, maintain and destroy the universes? How auspicious it is that Lord Varaha lifted the earth, etc. We do not consider any of these activities to be very important. The most important thing is that Lord Chaitanya has revealed the great splendor of pure love of Krishna. Let us glorify that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prema Pumata Mahan, Harajo Bhagavan Brajeshash. When Lord Gaurachandra's devotees, who are worshipped even by the demigods, drink the wonderfully sweet nectar of the bliss of pure love of God that flows from the lotus flower of Lord Gaurachandra's feet, they become completely intoxicated. In that condition, they laugh at Lord Brahma and the other demigods, condemn the impersonalist yogis, and do not consider the great devotees of Lord Vishnu, who do not worship Lord Gaurachandra, to be very important. Let us glorify that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You see? You see the point? This is Prabodhananda Saraswati. He has another book about Vrindavan. He says, this is really outrageous. He says, better to be a murderer and a thief and live in Vrindavan than be a pious person who doesn't. He's a real extreme. So, try to understand, this is the gift of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The worship of Krishna in Vrindavan, in the mood of pure love. Because there is Goloka and Gokula, Vrindavan. In Goloka, Radha Krishna worshipped with awe and reverence, opulence. But in Gokul, Radha Krishna only worshipped in sweetness. No awe and majesty is there. Krishna is an eternal adolescent and he is nicely decorated. So this Radharaman, we were talking, this decoration of Krishna is so important. It's so wonderful to see the deity and pibancho drishibi, to drink the beauty of the deity through your eyes into your heart. This deity worship is so important. Prabhupada said, take some hints from Radharaman. Krishna is wearing different types of garlands. He has the Vajayanti garland made of 5 different colored flowers, reaches to his knees. He has a Vanamala, forest garland, which is made of leaves, is more rustic, more simple, reaches to his feet. He has a garland, some garlands go horizontally across his chest. Some garland is around the throat and straight down, like a tie almost. And some garland is around his top knot. Then he has so many ornaments, and Yasyananam Makara Kundala Chalu. He wears shark-shaped earrings. He is wearing tilak. Sometimes his tilak is made of red kumkum, sometimes made from sandalwood paste, sometimes made of gold paint, real gold paint. And He has many rings and bracelets and armbands and ankle bells, and he is, Hare Krishna, yeah, he's so nicely decorated. And sometimes these ornaments, they're all made of flowers. The gopis are very expert. They make all the same ornaments out of flowers, earring, rings, ankle, like that. The cowherd boys, they're very fond to dress Krishna sometimes. And there's a place in Vrindavan where the cowherd boys once dressed Krishna. Then later when he met the gopis in the afternoon, they dressed him differently. So like that. So seeing Krishna, seeing Krishna's beauty, it's like a festival. Nityotsavam. Seeing Krishna is like seeing a festival. It's just like, who can imagine? The karmis cannot imagine what we do every day. We're dancing at 7 in the morning, jumping, not to speak of Mangalati. Sometimes Mangalati, if Tribhuvanath was leading them, everyone would be jumping into the ceiling at 4:45. He used to start very slowly with the tambura in Dublin. Samsadadaban, a big tambura. And he put that down and get the mridanga, and then everyone's like, in the middle of winter, all the blankets, all the chaddars would be on the floor, everyone's sweating. But who can imagine this life? They're all stuck in traffic jams, taking the kids to school. So miserable life. Actually, no, it is. I've done it. I know. You can't even go to Bhagavatam class because that's the exact time you have to go to take the children. And then in the winter you're sitting there in the cold waiting outside the school and you're freezing. Such a miserable life. But this is... So this life, when you come here, absorb your mind in Guru Puja, absorb your mind in seeing the beauty of the deity, pay your obeisances properly, chant attentively, meditate on the prayer, be humble, like this. This is your golden time when you're in the temple room. It's a unique time full of Krishna consciousness. When you go out there, good luck. Good luck. So, I'll stop now rather than carry on. So, we could have some discussion. We could read a couple more verses from Prabodhanand. Let me read a couple of verses here, just to finish off. Hare Krishna. Even the greatest sinners, the greatest of sinners, even the lowest of men, even men of the basest character, even those in the vanguard of sinful acts, even the dog-eaters, even those whose hearts are filled with sinful desires, even those born or residing in sinful countries, and even those destroyed by bad company have all been rescued by the mercy of Lord Gaura. Let me take shelter of Lord Gaura. Lord Gauranga, he's Krishna, but he's not on the shore of the Yamuna. He's not on the banks of the Yamuna, he's on the shore of the ocean. Leaving the charming forest on the bank of the Yamuna and entering a flower garden by the shore of the saltwater ocean, rejecting his yellow garment and accepting a saffron cloth, Lord Hari has now concealed his own bodily luster and manifests a golden complexion. Let me take shelter of that golden Lord Hari. So if you get this Krishna consciousness from Lord Caitanya, from Sachinandana, you will not care for anything else, any other process. Okay, last one. Lord Gaura is more handsome than millions of cupids, more pleasing to the people than millions of moons, more affectionate than millions of mothers. Who can imagine? More generous than millions of celestial desire trees, more profound than millions of oceans, sweeter than millions of Sudha Chira, and Madhvika nectars, and filled with millions of wonderful, and I've lost that. Hare Krishna. No problem, we got the idea. I'll have to ask you what was so funny after class. Gauranga! 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 Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So, is there any comments or questions? Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I left one book.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Priti. In the beginning of the class, you mentioned that the disciple should try to imbibe the principle of the spiritual master.
The mood.
The mood, sorry.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, the mood is very much related to the Swabhava of the living entity. So what if the disciple's Swabhava is not as per the mood of the spiritual master? What should be?
That is okay. There's, the external mood can be the same and the internal mood can be different. No problem. But the external mission of the spiritual master, Namaste Saraswati Gaudavani Prachadine Nivishesha Shunyava. The whole world has forgotten Krishna. They're suffering simply because they have forgotten Krishna. Conditioned soul means one who has forgotten Krishna. So this preaching movement, this is how to get Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Prabodhananda Saraswati has written another important verse, Yata Yata Gauda Padada Vinde. Just by serving Lord Chaitanya, one automatically will find oneself at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani in Vrindavan. By automatically, you will become. So the external mission we have to follow. We cannot just do what we want. Who? You can just keep it on.
I think it's on. This is kind of very interesting, which I was thinking of. There are those realizations of those great acharyas that seems to me surpassing far away even Vedic injunctions. Those great realizations like Prabodhananda Saraswati shares that, which we accept because he's our acharya, but there are many other acharyas who have different realizations, and we can, even Vedically maybe you cannot confirm that these are his realization, his heart is just flowing out with his realizations. But could we really accept as a fact, for example, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is also criticized by many school of thought. We accept as authority, and sometimes he has such a unique informations, realizations, which is, like almost like we also sometimes have our realizations which are overflowing. We accept totally as a true, but we may be mistaken also. So in that sense, to accepting these great realizations as a fact, which is probably not agreeable with in other Vaishnava, whatever sects.
Oh yeah.
It's very kind of, when entire spiritual world flows through somebody down and is written, and of course only those who are in lineage will accept because there's Sadhu Shastra Guru, but sometimes seems to me Sadhu surpasses far away Guru and Shastra. So it's interesting, you can be mistaken, like we feel it's true, it's great, we feel nectar, but could be mistaken maybe also. Just kind of grain of doubt.
Yeah. No, I heard somewhere, maybe from my spiritual master, that the sadhu, he is the most important in terms of over Shastra, because he is the living example of the Shastra, and he manifests it in practical reality, in practical terms. So I'm sure there's a verse that someone could help me here, if anyone knows a verse. But say the English loudly, roughly, you know. The behavior of the sadhu establishes Dharma. This is Madhavendra Puri. Yeah. The hetu, the cause of Dharma is the behavior of the sadhu, the Vaishnava. He actually establishes Vaishnava principles. Because the Shastra, sometimes it says one thing and another is not so easy. But when the Shastra seems to contradict itself, you have to go to the sadhu and find out what is the actual resolution of contradiction. Sometimes they say, oh, Krishna's the son of Devaki. But everyone knows he's the son of Yashoda. How is it that he's taken birth in the prison house of Mathura? Because he's simultaneously taking birth in Vrindavan, actually. There's twins. And when Vasudeva swaps the child, he swaps the daughter with Vasudeva Krishna, who then merges into Vrindavan Krishna. So there's so many contradictions in Shastra, so we have to go to the sadhu. The sadhu is the supreme autocrat, not aristocrat. He is an autocrat. Whatever he does, we follow. Prabhupada says, I follow my spiritual master blindly. Bhaktisiddhanta was criticized by all the Babajis and Gaudiyas of his time. They even criticize him today. Some people, this Diksha line, Siksha line, all this, they get confused. But Bhaktisiddhanta didn't care for the criticism. He said, look at the fruit of the Gaudiya mat. What is the fruit? We are preaching all over India. We're making so many people Krishna conscious. We're saving the world. And this is the business of Lord Caitanya. So, for preaching, Prabhupada says we can make adjustment. Prabhupada made himself adjustments, Brahmin initiation to ladies, etc., etc. So many adjustments. So the sadhu can do anything if he's 100% pure devotee, isn't it? I mean, this is a fact. Prabhupada said, I follow my spiritual master blindly. And people criticize Prabhupada. People criticize Bhaktisiddhanta. People criticize Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. People criticize Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We don't care because we're tasting this Krishna Bhavanamrita, Krishna Rasamrita. What is that? Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati. Kriyatam Yadi Kutopi Labhyate. We just want more of it. And even we try to leave, we end up coming back anyway, so why bother leaving? Everyone comes back. So we don't care for this. Nityananda, he was a grahastha, then he became a sannyasi. He was a sannyasi, and then he became a grahastha. Are you going to criticize Lord Nityananda for this? Yadubar Prabhu. The mic, please. Jai Nitai.
Speaking about devotees trying to leave. There was one devotee came in front of Prabhupada in Laguna Beach, and he was ex-sannyasi. He came in front of Prabhupada with long hair and mustache, and he said, Prabhupada, I'm trying to forget Krishna. And Prabhupada looked at him and he said, that is not possible. Haribol.
Haribol. Jai Jai. Hare Krishna. Govinda?
Thank you.
Govinda is our resident scholar.
No.
He knows the most verses.
I'm sorry, but Radharaman Prabhu's here, and I cannot say anything he doesn't already know. He even teaches me karate. Anyway, or he reminds me of it. But it's true. I'll tell you later. Here's my question. You mentioned Gopal Bhatta Goswami. He didn't want to be known. He's kind of kept a low profile. Prabhupada seemed quite happy that his fame was spread over 3 worlds. Here's a question for the disciple. Why do scriptures say Gopa Yed Guru Matmanaha? We should keep your guru secret. But then in the morning we sing Ebe Yash Gushu Chibivana, may your fame be spread over 3 worlds. So on the one hand, we seem to be doing 2 things. We're hiding our guru, and at the same time we're glorifying our guru, and so everyone gets the benefit. Any understanding on that?
Another contradiction of the Shastra, right? Another contradiction. I'm just going to speak spontaneously, have a little thought about it, is that the disciple wants to glorify his spiritual master throughout the 3 worlds. But for his own, if someone asks him, he doesn't go around for his own self saying, I'm a Prabhupada disciple. I am this disciple of this guru. That's not the mood. So the mood is he hides his guru. But some other thoughts on that?
One thing which came to my mind was that you can still say Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, or Srila Prabhupada is the pure devotee. He's the guru of the world. He's the person who created the house for the whole world to reside in. But when it comes to intimate dealings with the guru, when guru really reveals something which is really dear to the heart, something really could be / esoteric, those sort of things we don't speak about. These sort of things we keep close to our heart. Like, I'm sure you have also some reflections with your spiritual master which you don't share in a public forum. But when someone asks you who's the spiritual master, then you say, is it such and such? So I would say that's the line, the difference between intimacy and glorifying guru.
And also the internal identity of the spiritual master, the external identity. We hide our spiritual master's internal, and Prabhupada would not discuss even to anyone his internal identity or his internal bhav, like that. So some hiding is there and some not hiding. Achincha Veda Veda Tattva. Radharaman Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. That was such a nice class. It was wonderful. What a way to end the week and start the weekend. Thank you. I'm really grateful. Just you mentioned about Prabhupada commented that we should get inspiration from the deity worship of the temple of Sri Radharaman. So I just wanted to share one little point. So in November, I had the privilege of
Radharaman Das.
Not much, to be honest. I'm just a replica of Govinda, actually. So in November, I spent a few days at the temple, just associating, because my friend is the priest at the moment doing the seva. And we were discussing about the relationship of the deity and Srimad Bhagavatam. So I just wanted to share that. It's a really interesting point. So as we all know, during the Rasa Lila, Lord Krishna suddenly vanished. At that time, Shri Radha mentioned, He Natha Ramana Preshtha, Kwasi Kwasi Mahapuja, Dasyaste Kripanaya me, Sakhe Darshaya Sannidhim. So she started crying out, my Krishna, my Lord, hey Ramana, where have you vanished? Please come to me. Dasyaste, I'm your servant. Sakhe, I'm your friend. But there's a very key word that Sukdev Goswami mentions in this verse. He says Sannidhim. Shri Radha says, please come close to me. Please appear to me. So many years later, when the deity manifested, Radharani decided that she's not going to stand beside Radharamanji because he's so beautiful. So now she is facing towards him. And she's always in ecstasy while looking and beholding at the form of Sri Radharaman, which is why the Brahmins, the priests, they cover her. So if you go to Radharaman temple, you see that Shrimati Radharani is sitting on the side, facing Radharamanji. And it's said that when she smiles at him, Krishna then begins to laugh. So every day I get photographs of darshan, and the last time Krishna opened his mouth and showed his teeth was last Sunday. This entire week, if you see the photos of the deity, his lips are sealed. So it's not that every time he shows his teeth. So you please go on the internet and have a look. I will guarantee you, because I've seen the lips are sealed. Like today, they're sealed. Yesterday, they were sealed. On Sunday, he showed 4 teeth. On Saturday, there was 2 teeth.
That's amazing.
You know? And in relation to this, one time when the priest was about to enter into the deity altar, he forgot to do the most important thing in deity worship. It's not the dupa, it's not the deepa, it's not the bell, it's not the conch shell. He forgot to knock on the door. And what happened? He saw Krishna in a compromised form. Lord Krishna was off the altar, engaged in his service, and the priest immediately fainted. And then the Goswamis had to do parikrama 108 times around the temple. So it actually shows that Krishna himself is actually there in the deity. And before we have his darshan, the first thing is you knock on the door so he can come back and stand and give his darshan. So always remember, Krishna is there in his deity. Hare Krishna.
Jai Jai Sri Radhe Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu Ki Jai, Caitanya Charitamrta Ki Jai, Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jai Gaur Premanandi. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I left one book at home.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare